Okay, so we're going to be doing epoxy white grout. I always recommend epoxy for doing white. Main reason is in my experience, there's been a lot of problems with a lot of grouts in the white color specifically. There's grouts that that need constantly sealed, they end up getting stains because you're not doing the proper maintenance. Just scratch that altogether. I would not use a grout that needs sealed. There's no reason to in this day and age. There's a lot of advancements in grouting that require, it's going to be completely sealed off and not allow any absorption of any type of stain. And that's what epoxy does. Epoxy is probably, that's a premium grout I would consider. It's what's used in commercial applications. They would use it in commercial kitchens. So if it can withstand that, it's definitely going to be able to withstand, your shower daily use. So epoxy, I'm going to give you 5 recommendations on how to use this and do this the proper way so that you have an easy time of installing it. Okay, so my first recommendation is to get every bit of the part A and part B out of the packages. It's amazing how just 1 tablespoon difference can make a real difference with the mixture. So squeeze out every bit of the epoxy when you're mixing the A and B parts. Okay, so definitely use a clean mixer for this. You want to be completely clean. You don't want to be having any debris. You don't want thin set on the end of this or anything. So you just mix the A and B together really well. Okay, and then you just take your powder and you add it into that and mix it. Okay, so bring out a sponge and then just wipe over the surface that you're going to start applying this epoxy grout. This helps glide the grout over the tile, makes it a little bit easier to spread. And then one of my favorite grout floats is made by Trox. And this is made for urethanes and epoxy grouts. It's a little bit stiffer than a normal Marshalltown, so it helps get it in to the joints a little bit easier. So once you've wiped down your surface, just take some of your grout and then you're just going to pack it into the joints. And then at a 45-degree angle, remove it. Don't be too overly concerned about anything that's left on the surface. It's really easy to remove this once we get to the proper time frame here. And I'm just going to be really careful around my border because I just want to fill all the white grout on the tile. So it's a little bit thicker than probably most grouts, and that's where making sure that you get that part A and B out really makes a difference. So I really think that most of the work is actually just packing the joints. Everything else is pretty simple after that. good. Okay, my second recommendation is after you set all the grout, make a big grout ball out of what you have left of the epoxy. This way you can touch things up after you start cleaning things up. Otherwise, it'll get all hardened in the bucket and you won't be able to use it. Okay, so number 3 is timing. This is a real big key with epoxy. You need to basically remove the excess epoxy at the right time. So the best way to do that is just to press on the joint, and if you can mold it and not getting anything off of your finger, then it's ready to go. So in this instance, it took about half an hour because it's so humid, and now we're ready to scrub. So always have 2 buckets of water ready to go, and you want to use one of these scrub pads. And you're basically just using circular motions. This is actually a really easy grout to clean up because you can use as much water as you want, and you don't have to worry about the joints washing out like a lot of other grouts do. So you just scrub it and then take your sponge and wipe it down, and then you can tool the joint with the sponge. So with the sponge, you're kind of making that joint nice and smooth. And then my 4th tip is to use microfiber cloth. Wipe down that area that you just finished, because that's going to eliminate any epoxy from the haze from forming on your tile. So if you let that dry, you'll just see a whole bunch of blotches of epoxy. So if you go over it with a microfiber cloth, it'll remove all of that. Okay, so my final tip is to use some windex vinegar with vinegar just to clear stuff a couple hours later, and use your microfiber cloths to clean it up. This will get the last bit of haze off of your tile. So just buff that out, and then just look at the different areas of the light to see if you have all that haze off.